Good morning, my fellow patriots. Now, I know most of you are smarter than the average bear. Let's take a look at this headline from ABC. Officer who fatally shot Dwante Wright resigns. Protests turned violent for third night. Now, I personally think that ABC News and the rest of the legacy media are at least partially responsible for this rioting and looting taking place right now. I mean, if they had used a different headline, a more truthful headline when this all first started, I don't know, something along the lines like fugitive with active warrant shot while resisting arrest. Do you think the riots would have gone on? Let's go on a little bit with the story as I now know it, because I was partially, at least partially wrong in my first story. We'll start almost in the middle of this story. Look how ABC wishes to represent this man. Wright, a father to a 2-year-old boy, was driving in Brooklyn Center about 10 miles northwest of Minneapolis when he was stopped by police Sunday afternoon. The officers initially pulled him over for an expired registration tag on his car. Now, do you remember the first stories that came out where the family was saying he was being pulled over for an air freshener that was hanging from the mirror? Yeah. And here's the other information. They were aware, but determined during the traffic stop that he had an outstanding gross misdemeanor warrant, according to Gannon. You notice how they don't mention what the warrant was for, and I already told you it was for having a gun without a license, an unpermitted pistol. That was one of the two reasons anyway. And then look how they next state the next part of the story. As police tried to take him into custody, Wright got back into his car and Potter fired her gun, striking him. Gannon said Potter intended to deploy her taser instead of her gun when she accidentally shot Wright. Now, I've seen the body cam. I watched it like 6 times, and parts of it still don't make sense to me. Potter had grabbed Wright's arm. The first officer let Potter go as Potter moved in and grabbed Wright's arm. This is the part I don't understand. Why did she stop one officer from making the arrest and attempt to do it herself? Now, I've read one story that says this might have been part of a training thing. Why, though, during the middle of an arrest when you're going to cuff somebody, do you stop an officer from cuffing him and attempt to do it yourself? This doesn't make any sense to me. The other thing that doesn't make any sense, actually, is the fact about Kim Potter even being an officer. Did you see that picture of her? She is too small, too light, too ineffective to be an officer. An officer should have minimum height, weight, strength standards. If these standards were in place, I mean real standards in place, for this police department, this man might have been still alive. But he resisted arrest. He broke free from an officer, and here's where the accidental shot came in. In the video, you can hear Officer Wright say, "I'll tase you," and then give the warning to her fellow officers, "Taser, taser, taser," before she pulled the trigger. She fired one round. And then she exclaimed, "Oh my God, I shot him." And that's what caused her to resign from the police force. Her failure of judgment. She grabbed the wrong item. She meant to grab her taser. She grabbed her pistol. Should she be brought up on charges for this? No. He was driving in a car with expired registration. He had an active warrant out for his arrest. He resisted arrest. He broke free from an officer. He had and did have every intention of trying to escape the police. This officer, in the heat of the moment, grabbed the wrong item. And I do mean the wrong item too, because if you watch the video, this man is wearing a jacket and a heavy shirt. Like a taser is really going to go through that and be effective. She unintentionally grabbed the right tool to stop this man from fleeing. She wanted to use less than lethal force, something that would not have been effective. There are two ways to start reducing the amount of shootings of black people. One thing you have to do is you have to start reporting the truth about these arrests and shootings. You can't try sugarcoating these criminals and making them out to be lily white when their hearts are really as black as coal. And you have to start advocating for more training of police officers and higher standards. This Kim Potter should never have been on the street in the first place.